Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is where you are. Welcome back to the live stream. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today is August 11th, 2019. And we're going to write a little bit of code today. How's it going there, chat room? Look at that big cheer from our friend Svava. Good morning. Thank you so much for that cheer. I really appreciate it. And, wow, we are starting off quick here. Look at this. Tagaron, good afternoon. Zayars, hello World 2 Encoding from, joining us from Chile, South America. Buenos dias, right? Good morning, great to see you. Rambling Geek, Goran Howe, hello. Goran, I think I see a pull request from you.
Wheelchair Sean just resubscribed for 3 months.
Sean, thanks so much for that resub. That'll put you in a red hat now. You'll have a little hat badge, red hat badge next to you. Thank you very much for the sub and the support, and we'll make a donation to Coder Dojo, as we are with all of our subs, all of our cheers this quarter. Thank you so much for the continued support. Nibro is here. That's Niraj from Sydney. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Tag Aaron1 just resubscribed for 17 months.
17 months? Are you kidding me? Thank you so much for that continued subscription. Oh my gosh, that is tremendous. And another donation to Coder Dojo. Thank you so much for that resub. Oh my goodness. And that's what that was a Twitch Prime sub from Tagaron. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can hook that up to Twitch free. You'll get one subscription to any channel you'd like here on Twitch. If you decide to use it on my channel, you're going to get 17 different emotes, and I'll make a donation to Coder Dojo this quarter. Thanks so much. Encoding asks, do I have a green screen in case I didn't organize my house? Maybe I don't want you to see the rocket lab back there. Maybe I don't want you to see all the Erlenmeyer flasks, all the chemistry out back there. Maybe I also want to be able to drop it out and be able to sit in front of all of our Visual Studio and all the cool code that we're going to be writing in a little bit. Shanram says, cool hat, thank you. This is a hat I had custom made for Visual Studio. We're going to be doing, of course, some work with Visual Studio today. Goran Howell asks, how was the beach trip? Didn't go to the beach. Didn't go to the beach. Let me see here. I spent the day yesterday, though, cutting down a whole bunch of trees in the backyard, doing a whole bunch of yard work. And Portal 7 connecting from here, Argentina.
Could you
Welcome.
be just gifted 5 subs?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. 5 gift subs in the channel from our friend CLW. I believe that's Corey Hurricane Weathers. Thank you so very, very much for sharing the love. Our Dallas Encoding, Tam716, Will Airways, and Shanram, you just got free subscriptions thanks to our friend Corey Hurricane Weathers. Thank you very, very much for sharing the love. And we'll make another set of donations to Coder Dojo. That's awesome. Thank you so much for the continued support. Little Andy is here, Paranoia System. You're trying Blazor? Fantastic. We're going to be doing a bit of work with Blazor here today. Blazor, of course, is that .NET framework. You can write C# with a little bit of Razor markup and compile it, and it'll run in the browser on top of the Mono framework. You don't have to know Mono, but if you know C#, you can write and program towards that framework, and it'll work. Mono has been recompiled to run on top of WebAssembly. This means that we have our code running live in anybody's browser, because WebAssembly is a standard. It's a web standard that everybody implements, whether it's Safari, Opera, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, mobile Safari, mobile Chrome. They all have that feature available to you. Rambling Geek is here. Hello. McNerdius. Paranoia System has a little bug with state has changed. We are still in preview, so you may see some bugs. It's a good idea to report that. Get into the Git repository and mention you have an issue. And of course, the engineers they're focused on that. They'll be able to help you out with that immediately. All right, let me get some music playing here in the background. Let's get into our project and talk about Blazor a little bit further here and start writing some code together. I'm gonna play. You know what? Let's play. I haven't played this one in a while. This is Yellow. There it is. This is music to code by from our friend, Mr. Carl Franklin. It's been scientifically designed. It's been engineered to get you in the flow, get you in that state of mind where everything just kind of fades away and you can focus. You can get hyper-focused on whatever task it is you're working on. Whether it's code, doing homework, studying for a test, reading documentation. I was reading some documentation yesterday and listening to this music. Housework, yard work. It'll help get you focused and make you feel good about yourself a little bit too. Check it out, mtcb.pwop.com. You can execute the music command in the chat room. It'll tell you all about it. Thanks so much, Carl, for letting us listen to your music. And check it out, folks. Check out the music. There it is. Thank you, Alka, for sharing the link. One other note. Today is Carl's birthday. If you want to drop him a line, he is, and thank him. He is on Twitter at Carl Franklin. There's the link in the chat room. If you want to click through and wish him a happy birthday. All right. What do you say we get over to our code? Let's actually take a look at the project. We've got a couple of pull requests to review. I always want to share those pull requests with you. I want to give those folks that spend some time working with us, giving us a contribution, give them some due respect, taking a look and talking about their code, and before we compile and include that in the project. So let's take a look. Let's head over there real quick. Here we go. Here's the project. Let's add a project command here in chat. Fixing data integrations with the resource management project using Blazor and I'll give a link to the project so you can click through that if you'd like to contribute. Hey, Crows, good to see you. Your account is 10 years old as of yesterday. Alka, wow, that is amazing. Congratulations on that. That is definitely a commitment to the Twitch platform. Encoding says, hey dude, I have a question here. Moving from Node.js to C# and .NET Core, what is a good path to follow? Pros, cons, and all that stuff. Good question. If you're moving from Node.js to C# and .NET Core, you're going to start thinking about things like, well, you're building web applications, so you want to run on the server. You're going to start looking at ASP.NET Core. ASP.NET Core 3.0 is the version that's going to be coming out at the end of September. September 23rd, it's going to be released as part of .NET Conf. That's a virtual conference you'll be able to watch live right here on this channel. It'll actually be hosted over here from the Visual Studio channel, but whatever. As part of that, you're going to get a whole bunch of performance improvements, bug fixes. This Blazor feature that we're working on, you'll be able to get working server side, not necessarily in the client. They'll still be in preview for the client. Focus on ASP.NET Core. Learn how to use Razor templates. I think Razor pages will feel very comfortable to you. You're going to... easy for me to trip over my own words here. You're going to want to explore either Razor pages or MVC modeling, right? If you model your application using Model View Controller, you can very much embrace that type of approach, but I think Razor pages are going to feel a little bit more normal to you. You can also do things like you can write middleware directly against ASP.NET Core, and that might feel appropriate to you as a Node.js developer to write that type of middleware that goes out, does something, and comes back. But Razor pages let you focus on writing things in a page-like model and be able to feed and work with data over there on each page individually. So, kind of depends. There's several different ways that you can interact with it to deliver and get the same great features. If you're concerned about building microservices, take a look at building controllers, API controllers. We have great support for gRPC coming as part of ASP.NET Core 3. So you can take a look at that. That's really easy to stand up. And you can even put those gRPC projects inside of what we're now calling a worker template. Very, very slim, small application that can run inside of a container and host a gRPC endpoint. So lots of different places that you can go. Check out .net, and there's a link there to help get you started. So dot.net, and there's a getting started link right here that'll talk you through getting started. We have a great application workshop that's available on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/C#Fritz. It was just updated to the 2.2 version. It doesn't have gRPC in it, but you'll be able to see a lot of those same features. The docs for RP are easier to get started with, just because a lot of care was put into writing them for RP. What do you mean? Give me help me out with the acronym there. Entity Atom. Protopoly.com. Razor Pages. Thank you, Entity Atom. Yes. Entity Framework will be your friend. Entity Framework is our object. Object Relational Mapper, ORM, that you can use to access data storage. Really great stuff. All right. Let's take a look at this project that we've been working on. This is a project we've been building that'll allow you to manage employee resources, employee schedules. And eventually, we're going to put classes into this as well, and at some point, maybe even the horses at Sebastian Writing Associates. Pardon me. I've got pink lemonade on board here. Protopoly asks, did I get a Twitch shirt? I've had several different Twitch shirts, but yep, I've got a black one today. The purple one's is okay, but I like the black one. I took the Twitch hat off because I thought it was too much. That's what end. So, this is our resource management application. This is built with several different projects in the solution. So when I take a look, this is Octotree over here on the left that's showing me my entire structure. If I change over to the dev branch, which is the current branch we're working in, and we look at the source here, you can see I have 5 different projects in here. I have a unit testing project, a domain project. This is where all of our domain objects are, those things that are common that we use throughout our application. A scheduling project that has the things about managing schedules, all the business logic and tooling for integrating and managing a schedule. Not necessarily the data points, but the things to operate on a schedule. Our web project that'll run all of our web services. And a web client project. This is the Blazor client application. This is what we compile up and it runs inside your browser, not on a server. We actually ship this DLL for web client to someone's browser and it executes inside your browser. How did I get the shirt? It's available, on Amazon. There you go. They had, during Prime Day, Twitch had a Prime code that you could use. So instead of it being just $10 for the shirt, it came down to like $5 or something like that. So, yeah. And of course, they sell all the shirts and all the Twitch swag for dirt cheap at TwitchCon. So, that's another thing coming up as well. There it goes. All right. So we have 2 pull requests that were submitted. Pull requests, of course, these are changes that were submitted from folks in our community, suggestions to say, hey, why don't you take a look at this? This might help out the project. So I have these 2 here. One from Goran, adding directory build props, and another one here from M. Derek that says restyle the availability page and some accessibility improvements. So I'm going to start with Goran's change here, adding directory build props. This makes sense, and this is something that's a little bit more advanced technique for managing the versions of common references inside of projects. In .NET, we have project files. All right, let me open a project file here, like this one. No. I actually want to go to the project file. There it is. We have project files like this one that specify this is a web SDK project. It uses this framework, .NET Core 3. It has this user secrets ID if we're going to use that. And we're using this version of the language, the programming language, version 8. And I can scan down here and I can see these package references. These are other things to include that will enhance my project, right? Beyond just the standard things in the .NET framework. So you include these packages from NuGet that you can reference and use. And I've also got references to other projects in the solution and some directions for the folders here. What's a little bit more advanced here is Goran has suggested, you know what, let's take that common version number that we have for all of our ASP.NET stuff, particularly because it's preview, and managing all these is a pain in the neck. So what you can do is you can actually specify a properties file that says here's common properties that are going to be referenced and used inside of our projects. And inside of our right, so there's our project build properties. We've got our a reference here that says include these in all of the things, and now we can use this substitute variable here everywhere where we need to reference that ASP.NET Core version. This way, when the next preview version comes out, all we have to do is modify the version number here, and it gets applied everywhere that the variable ASP.NET Core version, right there, gets referenced inside of our projects. Done. Not bad, right? This is a great way to pull all of that information into one place. And you see it's slightly off on some of these other tools here. And we might be able to wrap those up and put them into another properties file if we'd like, but it's not entirely necessary. This is strictly optional, and it's a way to, like I said, optimize and make it a little bit easier to manage these versions. It's a great idea. I'm going to thank Goran. This will make it easier for us to manage updates to the application. And I will merge Goran's changes here. All right, let me take a look at the chat room real quick. There's Twitch merch. I have Twitch developer shirt that you want at Twitch Dev Weekly. Yes, there is a Twitch developer shirt. I have a black on black Twitch developer shirt that I wear a lot. That was given out at the Twitch Developer Day last year at TwitchCon. So, yeah, I gotta figure out what that is. Hey, Goran! Thanks so much for the cheer. I really appreciate that. And I'm going to pop up a notepad real quick here, and I'm going to make a note of that. Because we'll drop a little bit of cheer graffiti into our code so that folks know that you supported us as they're editing the code. Dado, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. And that's going to help us towards our follower goal here. If we can get that out to 8,000 before September 15th, I will dye my beard rainbow as a salute to all of our Twitch followers and friends for both .NET Conf and TwitchCon. They're the same week, so we'll have it for the entire week. And not only am I hosting TwitchCon, but I'm also delivering a workshop. I'm sorry, I'm hosting .NET Conf. I need to do something about this right here, because, right? Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow, Rod. I appreciate you joining us. No problem, EcoMath. We'll come to that in a second. I'm going to take an action item here. I need a shadow on the follower text so that you can actually see it on a white background here. Not only am I the host for .NET Conf, but I will be hosting a workshop from TwitchCon. You'll be able to see that live on Twitch. We're going to be teaching folks how to build their first integrations using the Twitch APIs. And I'm hosting a panel all about promoting and interacting with folks who want to get involved with development here on Twitch. So you'll find me presenting 2 sessions at TwitchCon. I'm hosting .NET Conf. Those are the only 2 sessions that I'm presenting and speaking at the rest of the year. Yeah, I will not be speaking at Ignite. I'll be hosting a workshop at Dev Intersection. I might be speaking at Dev Intersection. I have to work that out. But we're working on it. All right. So that's merged, and it had already passed our checks. We have checks wired up to our projects where it'll run Azure DevOps and make sure all of our unit tests still run and everything still builds. And this worked properly. The other pull request we have here is from M. Derek. And if I click through here, this pull request has 2 goals. Fix the availability grid layout. On Friday, there were some issues with the grid implementation not looking the way I wanted and not working on mobile. Right, we ran into a little bit of an issue with our availability page and it wasn't quite lining up right. To fix mobile layout, added base styles using Flexbox. This makes everything collapse into one column. All right, cool. Wrap the grid styles in a mid-width media query corresponding to Bootstrap's SM breakpoint. So media queries in CSS are a way for you to say only apply these styles when this type of device with these capabilities is viewing this page. Maybe it's a printer. Maybe it's a wide screen, ultra wide screen display. Or maybe it's a mobile device. Maybe it's a phone and you want to display it in one layout when it's in portrait mode and a different layout when it's in landscape mode. That's what you can use media queries for. You can wrap those stylings to say these are the different ways that I want you to handle this. What's suggested here is that we're going to be able to handle that appropriately by using a little bit of media query here. We'll take a look at the files in a minute. To fix the grid, or remove the remote row specifications and just let auto row handle the grid. That's interesting. I'm gonna be curious to learn a little bit about that. This way the grid fills each row as needed, but keeps the alignment appropriate. Okay. I replaced the area declarations with columns and adjusted the column sum. See the codes for some other changes. I will. I'm very interested in that. To make the inputs not stretch unnecessarily, I capped them at a reasonable CH width. CH? I'm not familiar with CH. This will make them grow if a user needs to increase their base font size. This leaves a gap to the right of the inputs. To fix this gap, you could adjust the main grid's 3rd column to be smaller. Didn't do this because it would cause the calendar to stretch, which may not look the way you want. Good point. Accessibility improvements. Added some missing from form labels and fixed the 4 attributes. Yeah, that makes sense. Added a main tag to the layout. Okay. Replace the headings with appropriate ones on the availability screen. Really? Each subsequent heading layer specifies a smaller subsection, and so there needs to be appropriate order to the headings. Every page has H1, H2. For font styling, Bootstrap has corresponding classes. I'm curious how that changed. Mapped the availability tabs after using arias. Okay. The interaction piece is written in JavaScript. Yes, I'll cue that horse sound. Horses love JavaScript on this channel, okay? Just letting you know. For some reason, whenever they hear that programming language name, the name of that programming language, this programming language, I'm not going to say it because you'll hear the horses if I say it. And you're welcome to trigger it also with the exclamation point, that word in chat. Still need to be handled in Blazor. I'm not sure what that means. What's missing there? If there's something missing there, we should open issues to track those. Someone should open an issue after these changes are merged and should make good use for someone wanting to dive into the Blazor and common accessibility practices. A11Y is accessibility. It should be fairly doable, but I didn't quite have the time to dive into it. No worries. Appreciate any work that folks submit here. If anyone wants to chat through the changes, tag me in the issue and walk through it. And don't forget, folks, we have a Discord server that you're welcome to jump into, talk to folks on. There's always people there willing to answer questions. I'm there to answer questions. If you have, a project, something specific you need help with, very friendly community. Character with is CH. Okay. There's the Discord server in chat. Join us. Sign up. It's real easy. There's no pressure, and it's a very positive, welcoming environment. We want to make sure everybody has a great time learning there. Some other stuff to note. I used the dash case. There's a specific name that's escaping me for IDs and class names. I believe that's kebab case you're referring to. Copper Beardy
just resubscribed for 8 months.
Wow! Thank you so much, Copper Beardy. I appreciate that. With the Twitch Prime. I'm flattered you'd share your Twitch Prime sub with me. I very much appreciate that. Oh yeah, check out the hype from Malka. Absolutely. Some of the CSS change may be due to StyleInt in VS Code. Really didn't think about what plugins I had running. We'll take a look. Alright. Let's take a look. 4 files changed here. So here's the availability changes. Of course, I didn't spell it right. Avela, and I forgot the L in there. Oh, rats. Availability data entry. Alright, fine. You fixed my spelling issue, okay? You got me there. So okay. So we changed this to an H1 from an H3 at the top. Alright. So it's an H1 that helps with the accessibility, but the class sets the size appropriately. I'm alright with that. Set the availability for blah blah blah. Okay. So instead of div class button group vertical role group, you made this role tab list. I'm not sure what the change in role does. ARIA label type of event to add your schedule. Okay, that's fine. And each one of the buttons changes. So where I had button type equals button, class equals, and we're doing the same test in both. Yeah, that href should have been removed. That's an artifact from when I converted it from an anchor to a button. So that got removed. On click, blah blah blah. Yep, that on click method didn't change, but here's what you added for accessibility. Role equals tab. Makes sense. ARIA controls schedule item. Okay, ARIA selected equals... Okay, so that's passing that along for accessibility. ID equals single event tab button. That's fine. I don't mind the kebab case for that. And it's called kebab because it looks like a shish kebab, right? It looks like these are all put onto the same skewer. Ecomath says the JavaScript is specified in that link. It's mainly for making the interaction handled properly with arrow keys and causes a tab click to jump to the appropriate tab. It should still work regardless of it. Like, you don't need JavaScript in order to tab through. That's a browser thing. Okay, and it looks like the same thing here for the second tab. Okay, I'm cool with that. And I feel like this should almost be a control so that we wrap up this functionality instead of repeating it again and again. We've only got 2 buttons at this point, but we're going to be adding a third when we get to managing schedule exceptions. And we're going to need to handle that. And we can talk about schedule exceptions in a little bit here. And a little bit further down, so here's the edit form. So for schedule items, class, schedule form group. Why did you add another class for schedule form group? I'm guessing there's something in the CSS that targets that instead of the schedule item. I'm guessing. Right, I'm assuming there's CSS down here somewhere. Main layout, there it is. Oh my goodness. Turn that off. It's choking on all the white space changes. So where I had availability data entry... Oh, that's weird. Alright. So you've changed it to flex display, flex direction column. Okay. Now, okay. Let me go back up and review the markup a little bit more. My concern was, and my thinking is, what's this for, right? 16 matches on that. Schedule form group, input label and field set. Okay, so that you can group them together and specify the same look and feel. Okay, for all of the labels and inputs. That makes sense to me. Now, why are you using the hidden attribute here? Is that an accessibility thing? And schedule one-time appointments, appointment name. Where's the former? Okay, so you added a label next to what would have been my form control for the appointment name. So why use a class for it? For appointment name when you just put an ID on it? Because you never... Do you use the appointment name further along? Right? Okay, so name of the appointment and then label for, right, and you're just lining those up. That's fine. Date time input. That's our date time input class. For start time, form control, start time, form control, start time. That's fine. You use it again in the recurring schedule. Okay. And you've added a class schedule item button to this. Okay. And the same thing with the H2s to make sure there's the second H3 that I had there. All right. Recurrence data entry eraser. So here's where we're doing more of this. Appointment name. There it is, used again. Okay. And here's our days of the week. I didn't have an ID on it, and you've put IDs on those. Okay. And line those up. That's fine. That makes sense to me. Main layout, so you changed it from div class main to main. That's fine. Value.modified not. I'm not familiar with... Oh, and you put the single quotes around that. I'm not familiar with the not there, but came with the template. Yep, and that was a spelling change that needed to be fixed. Okay. Cool. Let's merge this. I mean, it didn't break anything, right? And thank you for the suggestions and code. Very cool stuff. Right, so there was a link here, you said, for this example. Yeah. All right. All right. Let me get a copy of this, and we'll take a look at this issue here for Purge CSS, because it may make sense to bring that in. I don't have Visual Studio open yet. Let's grab that. Come on. Hello? Thank you. There we go. Okay, there. And I'm going to pull in the changes that were made to the shared project that's out there on GitHub. So git pull upstream dev says, go get me the version, what's in that development branch in the shared project. So I have a local project here that it's going to merge it into. It's going to do a merge, so it's going to prompt me for doing the the passphrase. There it goes. I'll push this. What the heck? I'll push this into my private repository. Goran is asking, can I show the build pipeline, the YML file? I don't think I have a YML file. No, I don't have one here for this. Right, it's not saved into here from Azure DevOps, right? We can... I should have a pill here to let you click through to the Azure DevOps. But if I click through over here and details, right? I should... There it is. I can click into Azure DevOps here and you can see the artifacts. Anybody can see the builds here that have been running. But I do not have the YML file saved over here. I'm signed in with the wrong user ID here. Yeah. I know. Thanks so much. Dev Azure.com. And I want this account. Yeah, sign into Azure DevOps. Let's go. That is not what I was signed in with. Azure, you just doxed yourself because you did not sign me out when I said sign out. Way to go. Pardon me while I reset this. There are not secrets in the YAML, no. When I click sign out of Azure, you are supposed to sign out of Azure DevOps. I clicked sign out, you did not sign out. When I click into Azure, it should sign me into all of Azure, not just some of Azure. Huge mistake there, Azure. Massive. And this is a common complaint. This is the project we're working on. Let's dive back into this.
Great Scott.
Indeed, we do need to page the guy in the red shirt because that's a big problem. Really big problem. Kay the Blade Runner, where can you get the cap I'm wearing? This is a custom hat. I made it myself. Got the logo, set up a design, went to my local embroidery shop and had them make it for me. We did a charity drive for St. Jude back in May with our friend Fierce Kittens. And for folks that made appropriate donations, I had a couple extra made. But I'm not making and selling more of these right now. I can't technically sell hats with somebody with the Microsoft logos on it, and the Microsoft folks do not want to sell merchandise with icons on them, which I disagree with. I think there's enthusiasm around the products, and we should foster that enthusiasm if folks enjoy it and want to show their support. There are vice presidents in charge of marketing who patently disagree. Yeah, no, Angry Little Hamster, Azure is not on the fritz. That's a different hat. That's a blue hat with an A on it. Azure misbehaves. They've got some challenges there with logins they need to manage. Anybody can browse to this location and you can take a look at the project. This project, as with all the projects that we work on here on stream, these are available for anybody to browse to, and you can access in read-only mode. For folks that contribute, we can certainly talk further about giving them access if they are active contributors. But I do not, for a little bit of security reasons, I do not make access to the all of the content of Azure DevOps available to everybody to use. But this YAML pipeline is not saved. Where is it? I can't save the YAML from here, can I? And it doesn't show me where it saves it either. Right? Like, I can't export it because I'm in the draggy-droppy mode of Azure DevOps. There is no back and forth on this. Right? There's a little bit of history, but I can't... right? I mean, there's... See, that's not a YAML file. That's JSON of here's what was configured. And, I don't have a way to export that directly. You know what I mean? Right? I can view the... So, right? It showed me JSON, but there's YAML here. How's that work? So, and I don't know where it's saving that YAML either. That's why I use the browser profiles in the Edge Dev. It says Entity Atom. I have a separate profile for each Azure account. Yeah, you can't export these for some reason, but you can view it, and that's about it. So yeah, it's yeah JSON and mul. It's kind of confusing. They don't make it easy to export and integrate with these things. So, yeah, that's funny. So, you can take a look. I don't want to look at the history of this. I actually want to look at the builds, right? And you can see we've been building successfully for a while here now. Now, that makes me feel good that things are building successfully. There is, right, I believe, status badge. I can grab the status badge for this if I'd like. Right, here's some markdown that'll show whether or not the master branch has succeeded. I'll tell you what, I'm going to copy that. Go back over here. Oh, nuts. Go back over to our GitHub project. Let's put that little pill there on the resource management page. I'm going to edit the markdown here up front. And I'll drop in that right there. Added Azure DevOps status badge. There we go. Yep, commit that. And we'll see the little badge appear now. There it is. And you'll be able to click through and see the build right there. Okay. You're welcome, Goran. Rambling Geek had some great success with Azure DevOps last stream. Commit on my PC and it builds and deploys to a Raspberry Pi. Yes. There are absolutely ways to do that with the release pipelines feature that's available out here that will allow you to configure and say, push this update, push these changes to this location. Eventually, what we'll do with the builds here is when there's a build on master, and it's building right now, we'll deploy to the live website that our users are using. right? We've run all of our tests. We know it works. Deploy it. So, okay. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. All right. We're going to take a look at that purge CSS in just a second. So here I am. I've got everything merged and updated here, local on my workstation. I'm going to push an update. I already did. Okay, fine. Push an update to my version that I keep on GitHub. So I have a backup copy of what's on this machine here running on GitHub. Not running, sitting on GitHub. This way, if I go to another machine, like when I go to my laptop when I'm traveling this week, I can pull everything down and I'll have a mirror of what's on this machine, an identical mirror of what's on this machine on my laptop. I can continue working then while I'm traveling. I'll be in Seattle this week, and I'll be able to still be productive, still contribute. GitHub did recently release the GitHub Actions. I have my concerns with those, and I aired those last stream. I'm not going to get into that again, but I patently disapprove of GitHub Actions. I think they're confusing. They do the exact same thing as Azure DevOps. You should have one product, not multiple products that do the exact same thing. Okay. Where is it? There it is. I don't know why Visual Studio was way down there at the bottom. So. There we go. Everything's reloaded. Your roommate just left this morning for Seattle. Safe travels. I leave this evening. 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And I arrive 9 p.m. Pacific Time, which means it's midnight in my head because it's 3 hours difference for me to fly to the West Coast. And driving at 12:30, 1 in the morning in Seattle is a task I've become used to. 12:30, 1 in the morning, according to me on East Coast time still. So, all right, here's all of our changes. I'm going to run this real quick, make sure everything still works properly locally. And so we can see the browser with those updates that we got from, it looks like from Ecomath here. So, you typically refuse to drive in Seattle. I don't drive around downtown. I've driven downtown a couple times. It's not my favorite thing. But I drive out, and I'm always out in the suburbs in Redmond, and that's where I'll be this week. All right, so there's the website. I will click through to log in with my user ID and password that I've already got saved here locally. And I can click through to availability. And it looks very much the same. We've got this space over here, but instead of having this going the full way across, right? And that was one of the concerns was, right? This was stretching and looking funny running into that. So that looks great. I'm glad to see that update. Recurring events, this still works, and the sizes of these looks appropriate. Cool. That looks really great. And when I change this to weekly, I still get my days of the week here that I can choose, and that looks fine. But it's updated with those accessibility updates to make it a little bit easier for folks who might not be able to see the see the controls properly. Cool. That looks great. Janescu says some special streams from Seattle, right? I have to verify the time, but Tuesday's stream will not be at my normal evening time. Tuesday we will be a little bit earlier in the day to accommodate our guest, Phil Hack. Need to just verify one or two final details, but Phil will be joining us on Tuesday, and we're going to talk about getting started with source control on Tuesday. What are those things that you need to know to start using and controlling not just source, but any kind of project, any kind of content that you want to track versions of? This might be maybe it's a book you're writing. Maybe it's there are governments that are using this to track changes to laws. Yeah, look at the hype. Thank you, Ancient Coder. Great to see you. Any kind of documents, text-based documents, maybe there's images that go along with those that you want to track changes to and who made those changes. The source control technologies that you see me using here, Git and GitHub, you can apply and use for all kinds of different documents and files, not just source code. So we're going to be talking to Phil about that on Tuesday. It looks like it's going to be about 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. That makes it 1800 UTC. So about dinner time for folks that are joining us from Europe. So there's a suggestion. Hey, what's it look like on mobile? So let's hit F12 here, and I'm going to click the little doodad here to change the device so we can see what it looks like on a mobile. That looks pretty good. Set the availability. We get the little thing popping up there. And this looks really nice now. I really like the way that that's laid out. And then we have the schedule, your schedule at the bottom. Nice job there. Well done. Oh my gosh. Huge thanks on that. Oh my gosh. You're right, Spicy Condiment. Much, much nicer. It's over there.
Heroes just resubscribed for 9 months. Well done.
Frank, thanks so much for joining us. 9 months in a row, another donation to Coder Dojo. And that's going to put you into a green badge, a green hat badge. Thank you so much for that contribution. Appreciate it. That looks really cool. That really does. And then back here on the full screen. Yeah. I really like the way that looks. The last suggestion we had here, and this is something that came up last time, was to look at Purge CSS. So let's take a look at this. It was mentioned on stream to propose as a feature, so it seems relevant since we got a mix of CSS and Bootstrap, and there's things that we aren't necessarily using the whole way through. Purge CSS scans through files and removes any CSS that is not being used. Since Blazor still passes a lot of data to the client, reducing CSS elsewhere could be useful. True. This feels like something we can use to make the application better.
I love it when a plan comes together.
So, purgecss.com. It's designed to work with JavaScript. I love, look at this, the commenting. Cue the horse sound. All right, yes, I'll do that. And HTML files, but also works with Pug, Blade, and other HTML templating languages, so it will probably work with CSHTML. If it works with CSHTML, it should work with Razor also. We'll take a look at the docs here. Not 100% sure if anything not directly in the templates. That's fine. There's apparently an alternative, Purify CSS, which scans all text in the files you specify, which can result in some false positives. Never used it, can't vouch for it. Okay. So this is where I was going to suggest here. Perhaps we look at making this a part of the publish step. This way your development isn't slowed down on every new Blazor Bootstrap component you add. And we pulled Blazor Strap out. Blazor Strap was that Bootstrap framework that was tailored for Blazor. Hey, Carrie, good to see you. Okay. I agree with this. This feels like something we should add into this build pipeline to ensure that it gets triggered whenever we build. But we can also add it maybe to the release version of our build, right? So if you're building locally and you set release mode, trigger running Purge CSS. So let's take a look at Purge CSS. It's a tool to remove unused CSS. Yeah, we just heard about that. Comes with a JavaScript API, a CLI, and plugins for popular build tools. Here are a couple of ways to use Purge CSS, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we'll probably use it as the CLI. You can install the CLI in two ways, npm i-g purge CSS, run it from the terminal, use npx. Yeah, I'll run it from the terminal like that, thank you. Okay, ES6 with import if we're running it that way, Webpack, post CSS, gulp, grunt. Okay, but how do we, configure it? Configuration file is a simple JavaScript file, By default, the JavaScript API will look for purge CSS config JS. Okay. You can then use purge CSS with the file, blah, blah, options, content, CSS, extractors, whitelist, patterns, blah, 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 blah. You can specify content that should be analyzed with an array of file names or globs. The files can be HTML, Pug, Blade, etc. What's in that, etc.? Is .razor? Is Razor templating for that? Ed uses Sass, you think? Okay. Wonder how Purge CSS knows what classes are being dynamically applied in JavaScript. Good question, Spicy Condiment. Very good question. I'd like to know that as well. Also works with raw content. You need to pass an object with raw property instead of a file name. Me. Can be adapted if you notice a lot of unused CSS is not being removed. You may want to add a custom extractor. Okay. I'm not using keyframes. If there are any unused font face, you remove them by setting font face option to true. Not concerned about that yet. But on the CLI, Purge CSS is available as a CLI, blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's good. This feels like the right way to run it for me as part of a build process, right? Purge CSS, blah, 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 blah. And here's the content to analyze. You can specify content that should be analyzed with an array of file names or globs. I don't like that. Etsy. Give me some way to tell me what I can use there. Give me a link here for what are the file types that it knows. You can see an example. I don't want to see the example. Guides. Okay. So it's not going to tell me here. Is there edit on GitHub? Let's see if it says something over here. Is it going to jump me over to that project? Yes. Because I want to see if if I can target my Razor files with this. Sass is clean. Hey, JAF1021. Good morning. Good to see you. That purple hat looks terrific on you. See that? See, there's a purple hat there. Yes, happy Sunday to JAF1021. Indeed. So guides for React, Vue, Nuxt, and WordPress. That worries me that it doesn't have Razor listed there. You know what I mean? What's in... okay, no, it doesn't specifically say Razor. Usage, blah, 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 blah. Build a plugin, blah, 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 blah. Show me what templates you know how to use. Right? Like, can I run this against it and it'll know what to do? It's going to be a test thing. Yeah, we're going to have to test this out on our own here. All right, so I'm going to click on the CLI here. Let's get a copy of this locally. All right. So npm, that's the node package manager. I'm going to run that, install the global tool, purge CSS. So it'll run out to the npm repository on the internet. It's going to grab all the things that I need in order to run purge CSS and install it and make it available to me to run anywhere here as long as I can type the application name properly. Fantastic. File path directory to write purified CSS files to. Yes. List of classes that should not be removed. So, okay. The glob of content files. This is going to be interesting. Hey, Flav Creations, good to see you. Build it and the documentation will come. Isn't that the truth, Carrie? Oh my goodness. If it just parses HTML, right? Let's think this through. Let's talk this through here as a team. We wanted to write the output CSS Okay, maybe we don't want to have it right it there. We wanted to write the output CSS because all of our code is in the web client project into the CSS folder. Is it going to overwrite my... You got an affiliate, says Flav Creations. Congratulations to you. Welcome to Twitch affiliate status. So, all right. I'm already committed. That you see the status here, right? That dev is showing that no changes after it, meaning I have the same version here that I do have committed into both my local source control and my version out in GitHub. So if I'm going to run purge CSS, I'm going to want to run it on this one, the web client project. So let's go down into that project. So if we want to run it here, right, dash CSS, no. Well, hang on. A glob of content files. Okay. So if I say dash dash con, and I want it to look inside of pages and shared, right? Right? So it's going to be, let's go back to this. There's no definition as to what dash dash CSS does. Con pages and shared, right? And if I just do that, yeah, it's going to come back. Oh, I don't know what this is. Do I need it? CJ Aliaga, thank you so much for the.
CJ Aliaga just resubscribed for 11 months.
And look at these. Thanks so much for the resub. 11 months. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Ecomath is saying just to do /star. I could just do. Well, I want to go dots / star dot razor. And the CSS that I wanted to analyze is root CSS star dot CSS. Okay. It definitely did something. Okay, so let's have it, right? File path directory to write purified CSS files too. Just write it here. Okay. So what did it write? Schedule CSS, site CSS. Well, those are the two files right there. It didn't analyze Bootstrap. Yeah. I think I need to go // star.css. Let me move that over so you can see. Right? So I'm telling it, take a look at all of the CSS files inside of the CSS folder and down. That's what the double star means there. Star.css, those cascading style sheet, all of our style sheet files. The content we're going to look at is everything that's a .razor file, right? Those are our Blazor files. And we want to output it. I'm just saying output it here locally. If I run that, now I end up with 4 files. Schedule CSS, site CSS, and I'm guessing Bootstrap min CSS, open iconic. So it actually wrote everything into the same folder. It didn't actually maintain that folder hierarchy. That's a little bit of a problem. You know? Isn't layout *CSHTML? Actually, it's not. In Blazor, the layout is .razor. Good question. Very good question, Karsten. So it's not going to manage. It's not going to manage. Yeah, I specified the output directory, but it didn't maintain the folder hierarchy. Right? So if I specify, write this to output CSS. Right? Write it into that folder. Right? It doesn't maintain the hierarchy of files that we had over in the CSS folder. In which case now I need to go back and change the references to my CSS files. Not just to those CSS files, but to how these are accessing their fonts underneath of it. Because they'll be in a different folder. So if we... okay, hang on. There's a couple comments here about if we want to merge CSS, and I'm not going to touch on, and all the best to you that got injured yesterday. I'm not going to read that out loud because I don't want to violate anybody's health declarations here on the stream. So there's two sets of comments here, and I see things going in two different directions here. One direction that is being suggested is we need to minify and compress this. We need to compress, we need to minify that so we can have one CSS file that's really, really small. Doable, but where these things reference fonts and the like, they need to still maintain those references. So open iconic bootstrap min CSS, right? It's going to /fonts to go find that font. That's not where that font is now. Right? That font is here inside this folder. Right there they are. I completely get what you're saying, EcoMath. We can get there. We should have when you deploy a web application, you should have just one CSS file, right? That way it's one file that's downloaded, one file that's cached aggressively by the browser. That way you're not constantly reloading that same set of styles. It's the same set of styles that are used throughout your web application. The challenge is we need to move some of these things that it's referencing along with us to those other locations. So it's not just lifting and shifting. Mads' bundle and minifier can adjust paths automatically. Right, the paths will need to be transformed is what's being suggested. I'm not a fan of Webpack at all. Webpack, you need a PhD in 2019 JavaScript in order to be able to use. The documentation is so... There's stereo instructions and then there's the Webpack instructions. They are extremely unfriendly to new folks trying to get involved with Webpack. I've tried to understand it several times. I like to think that I'm kind of a smart guy here, and I can't make heads or tails of it. And the fact of the matter is, everybody's creating their own CLIs. The JavaScript ecosystem is very much turning into an ecosystem of CLIs, where nobody is dependent on each other. Everybody is independent of each other. And now we have this huge mash of command line tools that you need to learn how to use each one of them individually instead of being able to compose them into a unified tool that does exactly what you need. That was the beauty of build tools like Gulp and Grunt. I don't know what happened, if there was something where folks said, you know, we don't like you, Gulp and Grunt, we don't like the flexibility that you offer, and we want full control of our entire ecosystem. I don't know. But instead of learning one tool and plugging in things to that tool, now you need to learn dozens of tools in order to be productive. See, look, we've got a half dozen tools now that are being suggested back and forth in the chat room. We could use SAS. We can use the bundler minifier that comes with Visual Studio from Mads Christensen. Right. Webpack. Purge CSS here. Build Web Compiler, right? There's a lot of different tools here that I'm gonna ditch on this for right now because I think we need to step back and reevaluate. There's a lot of different tools here, and I don't need to optimize this yet. If somebody wants to make a suggestion here, we can certainly take a look at and discuss, but I'm not seeing... I think we need to end up with, from our CSS folder here, I think we need to end up with this turning into some sort of a output folder that has our one CSS file and all of our fonts that we're going to be referencing next to it. Easy to access. Where, yes, we can still deploy, we can still put all of our working stuff here in our CSS folder. And then we don't deploy that. We deploy what's built and put into an output folder. Which also means we need to modify how we do our layout. I don't like that. This triggers a little bit of OCD in me, right? Why is that capitalized? I don't want that capitalized. Go away. I don't like it like that.
But what I do have are a very particular set of skills.
Very particular.
Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
Very long career, which means I'm really freaking old. Is this important? Mobile is so fast these days, so 100K won't make a huge difference. We're already going to be pushing a lot of content down to them with a DLL. So I am concerned, and we want to minimize the amount that's going on there. So we do have a master page. It is, where is it? The layout. Here. That's not the layout. No. Where'd it go? Oh, index HTML. There it is. Right, so there's our CSS that's being referenced. Right? And we would end up crushing that down into one CSS when we're in release mode. I am not touching GraphQL with a 10-foot pole. GraphQL is not going to be entering here. GraphQL is going to go out of style in the next 18 months. Faster than I've completely lost my metaphor. GraphQL is a data access API that does the exact same thing as OData, and everybody moved off of OData because they didn't like how prescriptive it was. Everybody's going to move off of GraphQL because they don't like how prescriptive it is. You watch. That's the cycle, how this goes. So, it's a flash in the pan. It is just like the other things. I'm not going to get into it because it's going to be dropped like a bad habit. Okay, so this needs to be updated when we're in release mode, so it uses that one output CSS, right? I mean, I could just drive and say put everything into this one output CSS file and reference that one, but I still need to be able to reference the fonts appropriately. Right, and we should be able to... Oh, this is an HTML file. Right, you see where my problem is here. This one HTML file, we need to be able to pivot and load the appropriate CSS appropriately. So we are either going to need to rewrite it at deployment time, or we're going to need to be able to have it choose which one it is, depending on whether it's running in release mode or debug mode. Can't I use if debug and if release? Not in the HTML. No. If this was a Blazor file, yes, but it's not. I'm going to come back to that. It's not a problem I need to solve right now, but it is something that we do need to address as part of that bigger problem of simplifying what we deliver to the browser. We're gonna need to open these as we get through them. Okay, the problem that I want to address today, and yeah, I'm just gonna drop. This is part of a larger solution we need to address to simplify the CSS we deliver. We'll need a build step and update our source files that reference CSS. So it's definitely something we need to do, but we're not there yet. This is what we're working on right now. We're handling our schedules on the server. They're being built. We're extracting them. We know what they are, but it's not painting them appropriately on screen. It's not loading them up for us appropriately. So we need to figure this out. Why isn't it painting my schedules on screen? So let me go back over to the application here and let's rerun it so I can show you where we're kind of stuck at. And with your help chat room, I'm going to start peeling back the layers here so we can get the data loaded properly. This is important for us to get all of our data working properly throughout the application. So I just clicked through to the availability page and it actually, see, it fetched data, right? And the data it fetched, right? If I reload here, we'll see it load the data. There it goes. Here's the data it loaded. It loaded data about an oil change on the 25th that I have scheduled for 1 hour. So if I go back to July 25th, see, it didn't load it into my availability schedule appropriately. Hey, Rambling Geek, good to see you. So why isn't it loading it in there? That's what we got to find out. So going back over to our source code, that data, right, it's being loaded here in the availability page, right, on init, it calls model on init async, right? So on the initialization of this page, we're going to receive a user, we're going to go get information about that user's schedule, and we're going to expand their schedule, which means we are going to go fetch that data. And right now we are saying, hey, we fetched this number of time slots. And we add those time slots into my schedule state. This is a shared application object for me as a user that now has my time slots loaded. What I need to do now is, after that's completed, I need to notify the availability controls, right? That calendar and the date underneath of it, the date panel. Hey, you've got new data to load and present. So I need to push some sort of a notification into those things so that I can tell them, hey, there's data now for you to look at. So how do I reference them? How do I, get a reference to these objects, right? The day picker, the calendar, that is, and the day view, and notify them, right? Because, I'm saying right now, state has changed on the page, which should fire, and trickle down this. Hey, Blazor, Mr. Magoo, cascading value feels like it could be the right way to go with this also. Simon says, nice to finally be able to catch a stream live. Been at work when Fritz is live. Been following the VODs. Glad it went back, changed the bootstrap tables for CSS grids. Much nicer HTML. And the left pills tab thing looks nicer too. I agree. PubSub might be a little bit much, but cascading value feels like the right approach here. Blazor cascading value. So cascading value. Cascading values by type. Blazor University. So we have a cascading value that we can receive. You simply specify a cascading value in the parent component for passing to the descendant components. In the cascading components, simply specify a cascading parameter to retrieve the value. Okay, so in my layout, in my availability page, I can specify cascading value with some sort of value. Okay. And then we receive it, and the name of that cascading value we're receiving. Yeah, that feels really easy to do. Let's try that approach. I like that suggestion. So if we put that here around the schedule, right? Cascading value. And if we call this time slots, right? Model my schedule state time slots. Okay. So then if I go into day picker, and let's add a code section here. Okay, so if we have cascading parameter, right? And we have to give it that name. So now a way to access that time, well, right, we need to give it the type that we're receiving. It's a protected, interesting, we don't specify, well, okay, that's a list of time slots. Okay, so it's a protected list time slots. Right? So now that's available to us. So instead of display day of month here, and we should also pass in the time slots to look at there. JF Vers Luis, thank you for the host. You bet Blazor University doesn't have the Blazor bling. Yeah. Simon, doesn't that break encapsulation of the view model? Notice some other places where code is bubbling out into markup. The the view model that's being used here is not a page model, right? You can set up a component model is what they call it in Blazor. This is actually a class that we've just passed things off to, which it does indeed break encapsulation a little bit. Does Blazor have code behind like good old web forms? Yeah, Oralman, that's, yep. So you can do that as well. It's, instead of injects, you can say implements. And you could specify what's called a component model. And that's what you'll be referencing and using instead. But I need this little bit of code here so I can receive this. And, right? Oh, you turkey. That day picker view model, right? If we look at this object, it receives the schedule state that should have that object in it, the time slots. Instead, we're passing it through the other bit. You're still 50-50 on if the view model should be code behind style with inheritance, yet to make a strong opinion on this. I think we could make it a Blazor, make it a component model and be able to get away with it. But this, not that one, I'm sorry. Receiving the schedule state. My schedule state is used in 6 places, and it's used to particularly pick up the selected date. That works. Keebler6, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. But the interaction with time slots in these 2 places, I want to pull off of that external time slots object. And I'm chasing events. I'm absolutely chasing events here. Right? Time slots. Right? And I'm going to have a get set here. Right? So when this is populated, right, I want to load it into this. I actually don't want to load it into that. Right? I think I need to change this one from an inject to an implements. Which means this needs to implement component model, I thought it was. No. It's not Blazor layout component. What is it? What is it? Where is it? Can't remember the name of the class that we need to implement for that. Component base. There it is. Thank you. So this does the exact same thing, and I do receive that my schedule state, but I can also put that cascading parameter in here as the time slots and receive it. And actually, that might receive it better. So now I can get rid of where it says model here. Because these things actually exist inside of that day picker view model, right? This becomes, well actually, why isn't it flipping that over? Implements that, yes. It's inherits, not implements. Come on. There they go. Thank you. So what does implements do then? So then I can move this, right, out and put it over here if I really end up needing to use this, right? Right, that should be received here. And then instead of, oh, I end. Right, instead of going through this, I should be able to reference that. Let's see what happens. Nope. What did we break? The name model does not exist. Where? Try that again. What? Oh, we need to do the inject. So instead of... Where'd it go? I'm losing the constructor here. Where's the constructor? Thank you for the follow, Tam716. I'm going to move this. Constructors I keep at the top of my classes. Not at the bottom. So it's easy to find them. They're right at the top. You're right. This doesn't get injected. Right now we need to make this... actually, I don't even need the constructor. This gets injected with an inject there. Implements is for interfaces that inherit. And inherits is for the base class. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure why you would use inherits with... implements with Blazor. Great, you implemented an interface. Did you actually do anything with it? Nope, didn't pick it up. Didn't pick it up when I went back over here and we're looking for that oil change appointment over here. So I think even though I'm injecting it, I think we do need to receive that time slots parameter and work with it there. Which means... where was it? If I change this to just time slots. Interesting. It didn't write that either. You know? Good. Try that again. See if we can get that to pop up now. Okay. And... Come on. Build. Build. Go! Hey! Why'd you stop? I didn't stop that.
You can do it!
There it is. I don't know why it stopped. I must have hit the wrong button. Alright, log in and go to availability, back one. There we go now. Alright. Thank you. Oh, you're too kind. Thank you. You're way too kind. That 25 doesn't look vertically centered. And also, well, that works. It still doesn't, yeah. So we still need to pass that cascading value over here. Now I'm not shipping it yet. We're not quite there yet. So I need that also in the day view. Day view. Oh. So we have all these parameters that we're receiving here. With an on and init around my schedule. Well, I can actually just receive the cascading parameter here, just like I did there. And I agree with what somebody was saying earlier. We're not being too good about managing the differences between some of these. It would be better to move them into a code behind the page model, the component base. You know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. It's a component base, and we inherit it. All right, so I'm going to change this then to just in time slots. Right? That's the only time we look at the time slots. So now let's try it, and we should get it to appear. Simon asks, so is there no way to have constructor injection when a component inherits? No. It's a property, you put the inject parameter on it, and it injects it. So. Here we go. Loaded. I gotta log in again? Really? Fine. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. Availability. And if I go back, click on the 25th. No. Okay. Clearly it got the selected date, right? Because that selected date is no. That's inside of day view. Or is it inside of the day picker? Ah, that's at the bottom of this. Okay. Okay. So that gets highlighted. And we need to pass that value over to the day view. I think we need to change this. Well, we're saying state has changed. We're saying, hey, go recalculate everything. If my schedule state does not equal null, when selected date changed, invoke state has changed. So it's notifying it, saying, oh, something happened here, go refresh. Oh, I really wish I could put a breakpoint on that. And be able to inspect, do we have any time slots? You know? So let's do this the old-fashioned way. Model, my schedule, state, time slots, count, and coming in on the parm, so we're gonna know which one. Why can't I break on it? It's running inside the browser, and I'm having problems getting the debugger, the in-browser debugger, wired up so that I can break on things and I can inspect values. I can see the source code, but I'm having problems getting Chrome to pause on the C# properly. Okay, so that click through should show me some things here on the console. All right. It doesn't have any time slots, and the parameter is 0. So, interesting. I'm selecting the different days, and oh, you know what? No. It's on the selected date changed event that we need to wire this up. I sound like the penguin. Okay, try that again. Parm makes you think of chicken parm. Yeah, a parameter is just really long to say. It's multiple syllables, right? So, good friend of mine, developer at a company I worked at a couple of jobs ago. Yeah, kind of showed me. Don't call them parameters, call them parms. Makes it a little bit easier to reference. Okay, so they're parms. All right, so time slot 0, and there were none on the parm. If we go back, and I click on this, so I changed it. So it's still not triggering. Look at that. Look at that. The schedule state, the selected date changed. We wired up to that, but we're not receiving that application state that's supposed to be passed into us. We're not getting the same state. It's even though, right? Even though it's scoped, we're getting the same exact object passed to each of these things. We're updating the state in different places, and it's not reflecting it to all of the different places. Can I trigger a change on init? Well, okay, I'm not triggering a change, right? I'm wiring up an event handler here that says when selected date changed, report the number of time slots and notify the rest of the component. Hey, the state of things has changed. Go refresh yourselves. So I'm on that, right? I'm not actually doing that change on the init. I'm not actually doing anything. I'm only setting up this event handler, but the event handler isn't actually being triggered because I'm getting two different my schedule states being passed around. That's a problem. What populates that is the question. So inside of availability here, I have my availability view model. This has an on init. Now this is a separate class. This is not a component base. When this is created, okay, it receives an HTTP client. This on init async is triggered here on the on init async of the component, and it goes through and it fetches the data to display. Well, actually, it fetches the actual time slots to display here in expand schedule. So there's an await here to go get the data. We write out, hey, we fetched all this data, and we add that to the schedule state time slots. Changing the selected date right, so there's the selected date there, right? So in day picker view model, right? Oh, snap. Are you kidding me? on click, my schedule state, select date. Right? So this goes into my schedule state. And fires the select date method, which sets the selected date. And it notifies, it invokes and fires out on this event and notifies, here's the new selected date. Goran, that's exactly the model that we used to have. We're trying to move everything to run client side. The state of this should be able to pass around our DLL. So should the time slots change when the date changes? Yes and no. I actually load up a significant cache, right, of those. What? So when this is expanded, so here I am in the availability model. This expands it and adds to the schedule state a collection of time slots for a 3-month period. And that's strictly at this point, just randomly choosing. But at some point, we're going to need to be able to page that, depending on what month you're looking at. We go back a month, we go forward 2 months. So we've got 4 months of data that we're looking at. Eventually, we'll need to be able to page it, like I said. So this, right, it adds them to the MyScheduleState object. I don't think we have the same MyScheduleState object in all 3 locations. Yeah, sure. Nope. I can do that like that. Ah, rats. Well, wait. Yeah, let's put it back over in the class. I meant to Control X that. Ah, come on. I'm 90% positive I don't have the same object. How does Blazor compare to the current state of SPA frameworks like React and Angular? Is there a steep learning curve? No, it shouldn't create a new MyScheduleState. They should be injected. It's still growing. It's still in preview version. Blazor is still in a preview version. It's still being developed and enhanced. React and Angular are mature. But Blazor is a great option for folks that are .NET developers. MyScheduleState has that version. Right, and if I click over here, first off, they're 2 different MyScheduleStates. Look at it. It's two different versions. I can't rely on that. It shouldn't be creating a new one. Because it's set up and declared scoped here, it should be one instance that's being passed around for the user. You're sure it was creating new on line 58 of availability view model? What the hell? No. And we need to get the schedule ID on that. Now let's see if it's the same. If that's the same value now, I'm going to flip. But Blazor Mr. Magoo, magnificent catch there. What? What? Shouldn't be trying to do that, but we can figure that out. You've been watching stuff on YouTube, really helped you out. Well, thanks, thank you, Tajari. I appreciate that. Now it's the same. Look at that. And it's got the one time slot. Yes! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! All right. Good catch, Blazor Mr. Magoo. My coins just don't fire as quickly. Look at that. Yeah! Thank you for the follow. You can't see it there. Thank you for the follow, Boring Coder. I appreciate you joining us, and I'm sure you're not that boring. Unless, of course, you work at the Boring Company. In which case...
And then?
Well, and then you're writing code for drilling equipment, right? Let me know. Thanks for joining us. So now I'm good on that. Ecomath asks, are there Blazor methods for getting the window width? Would be cool to switch the tab buttons to horizontal on mobile. You can get the HTML object. You can get a reference to it, and then you can inspect it. There is a way to do that. Yes. It would be nice if there was an analyzer to spot that. I think that's just my own problem there that we ran into. So in which case now I don't need the cascading values that I was trying to shoehorn into this, right? I can pull back on that with the availability that I was doing. Where is it? Right here. I don't need the cascading values because I've got them in that application state object that I can reference properly. Which also came through here, right? This I don't need. Oops, too many lines. Which means now I should see some breaks over here. No. Because where I was using time slots, it should now come through and say, oh, you don't have time slots. Or was it in here? Where is it? Where is it? There's a thing. Right, it was on like display day of month down in here. There they are. Why didn't they light up in the gutter over here? So if I say my schedule state, get that right. I can get rid of this. I don't need that. Good. Right, I'm just going to run a build, make sure that works. Trouble is, I now have a mix of designs with some UI inheriting view model classes in a component-based style. We can fix that later. You're right. We've got some that inherit this way and some that inherit the other way. I'm not terribly concerned about it right now. I think we would prefer going in this direction. Thinking out loud. Yeah, I think we want to go to the component base style. I'm going to create an issue for that and issue a help wanted tag on that. Migrate Blazor components to component base style view models. We can still load those up because component base comes out of Microsoft ASP.NET Core components. We'll still be able to unit test these. We'll just need to reference the ASP.NET Core components package in order to unit test. We don't need to have a user interface to go with these in order to test these classes. Not completely terrible. I think that's pretty clear what we're doing here. Oh my gosh! Look who's here. Who could it be? Quiltony and friends. Hello, hello. Thanks so much for joining us. Oh my gosh, I appreciate that raid. Wow. Welcome, raiders. Yeah, here they come, Destiny. You can !defend if you'd like to defend the channel and see all the emotes go flying by. See, only subscribers get the emotes flying by, so we won't see all the quilt emotes going flying by on the channel. It's great to see you, Quiltony. Hey, what were you working on this morning over there on your channel? Let us know. You know, it's always great to see you here. And can I get a shout out for Quiltony in the channel? Oh my gosh, look at all. And there's the raid defense bots. Oh yeah. There they go. Do we know if the inject attributes guarantees injection is completed before the constructor code runs? Yes. So UI unit tests don't need to make assumptions about lifetimes. You are correct. Thank you, Carrie, for the shout out to Quiltony and her friends over there that were joining us from her channel. I so much appreciate that. Quiltony does all kinds of great stuff. Quilting, she's very charity oriented. She did a tremendous drive for St. Jude this past May. She's you can find her at all kinds of game conventions that are coming up. She'll be at she was at Gen Con in Indianapolis, 2 weeks ago? You'll find her at Dragon Con. She'll be selling quilts and all the other neat stuff that she has on her website, quiltony.com, at Dragon Con at the end of the month. And of course, you'll see her at TwitchCon live, right? At the end of September. So, we got raided. Yes, we did. We got raided indeed. I'm going to finish this report here. Is a good example of using this technique. This is an enhancement, and I'm going to mark this as a help wanted. It's not necessarily a good first issue for somebody getting started, but I'll submit that through there. Hey, Capes and Arrows! It's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. Capes and Arrows, you should see, she's a little magic. She's been working on her channel. Did you see Rocket Man, the Elton John documentary? There's a very cool scene in that film where it's from when Elton John was giving a concert at Dodger Stadium, and he comes walking out on stage, and he's got a sequined and rhinestone emblazoned Dodgers uniform, hat, shirt, pants, the whole 9 yards, and it is all sequins and rhinestones. And Capes and Arrows is remaking that. It's kind of amazing. Hey, Miss O'Vain, good to see you. You're gonna go on? All right, thank you so much. So if somebody wants to take a look at this, go ahead and drop a comment on here, and I'll assign it to you. So what we're doing is we're working on this employee scheduling application here. You can see I'm logged in, and to Raiders, to let you know, you can key in a name of an appointment here and a start time and an end time, and it'll put it on your schedule over here on the right. You can see on July 25th, I have an oil change scheduled at 3 p.m. I can also set up recurring events, so I can say things like, I have I use bowling league as the canonical example just because it's kind of silly and everybody relates to it. But if you have bowling league on Wednesday nights, so bowling league, and you can set the start time at the beginning of August to the end of September, however long your league might be, and what time of day that actually occurs, and add that. And that's actually a weekly schedule. It happens every Wednesday. And it should save it and pop it over here onto the schedule. And it's now looking like, right, based on these fixes we just put in, it's looking like this is appropriately saving and painting correctly here. Svava says, and I have to say this in the same way that she would. Hold the phone! You don't actually have bowling league on Wednesday nights? No, I don't. You know what I have on Wednesday nights? I actually don't have anything on Wednesday nights. Tuesdays, Mrs. C Sharp Fritz is teaching writing lessons. So I'm here Tuesday nights, writing code with you on Twitch. So it's not on Tuesdays, Capes. I'm sorry, that's not when it is. All right, the last piece we need to look at. So this should save and update appropriately, and I'm not going to get into that, but the last piece we need to work on as part of this is this manager report, which isn't loading at all right now. Oh yeah, we got some bugs in the manager report to address. Oh, look at that. When I click the manager report, right, if I'm on the availability and I click manager report, look at all the red that pops up here. So the manager report is for managers of the facility. They want to be able to look at the schedule and see how many people are and which people are available on each day and for each time slot, so they know when they can schedule classes. This way, right, when you as a manager who's scheduling work at your place of business, you can look at it and figure out, well, when are people actually working? So the manager report is broken, and we can see we've got a bunch of errors in here that we're going to need to decode and go through here and make it better. I'm running a little bit late here. Let me go over to the manager report, see if there's anything glaringly obvious here that we can just real quick drop in and fix. Looking at this, so it should be answering on /manager, and when I mouse over manager report up there, you see the little thing that appears at the bottom of my browser right over here. It shows you where it's trying to navigate to, and you see it says /manager. So that's wired up right. It is properly trying to execute this code that'll format the page. Let me take a look at chat room real quick. Now we need a Twitch stream bowling league every week from Fritz. That might be fun to stream. Does anybody play bowling on Twitch? Like, really? Like, is that something where we could go to a local bowling alley and set up a camera and stream bowling? I don't know. Hyper Zen Girl, that's a great question. Well, a bowling on stream, like marbles on stream? Is that what you're thinking? That could be a thing. I don't know. But like in real life bowling. So if I do that, hit up Talk Custom. He loves bowling. So if I'm terrible at bowling. But Talk's in Austin, Texas. Or no, he's in Dallas? He's in Texas. He's one of those Texas people. Just like Svava. Oh, now I've given it away. And Kittens. He's in the Dallas area. So Hyper Zen Girl says sort of, yeah. So like marbles on stream, but bowling on stream. That could be a thing. So this is the code that's formatting that web page for the manager view, and there's something in here that isn't quite running right? Something's blowing up when it tries to run this, right? And it's this value cannot be null, and it's not really giving me an idea where it is. And it's parameter name source. Strange things are afoot at the circle K. Let's see. Is it somewhere down in here that we're getting hosed? So this is being injected, right? This is the constructor of the class, so that we know when it's being started, and it's being injected with my schedule state. We should be getting the same schedule state. And the HTTP client. I actually don't care about the schedule state for the manager view. I don't. It's like a different application state, but no matter. We'll figure that out. But the HTTP client, so this should be okay. Part of me wants to drop some console write lines in here and see if we can see where it's running into a problem. I think I'm willing to bet it's in here. You know? And I'm willing to bet it's because, right, this doesn't exist. Selected date. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. What if we set this to date time today? Right, just to give it a default value. Right? Why didn't it like that? Fine. It's gonna blow up. Fine. Hurry up and blow up already. You always break your thumbnails when you go bowling in real life. I can't say I have that problem. Yeah, I know. Build failed. Tell me about it. So if my schedule state selected date doesn't have a value, but it should have a value, right? This always has a value. It's right there. So I don't think that's it, the selected date, right? So these should be properly set. Let's look a little further, see if we can find it. See, look, this selected date is, okay, it's pulling out of the model selected date. That's fine. But model my schedule state. That could be the problem right there. And that's coming out of day view, right? Hang on. I'm passing in schedule state there. And it's being injected in the model. I don't think I need that. I don't think I need that. It's like double referencing the same things. You switch bowl, Hyper Zen Girl. Impressive. Impressive. Where'd my buttons go? No, that's not what I want. No, no. Come on, load up here.
Well, do your best.
Oh, it did. Alright. So I click through to the manager report and it's still blowed up. Now we're getting object reference not set to an instance of an object. Okay, we're getting closer. So which object is it on? Display begin date, right, is here. Well, it's possible that's not set yet. Right? Because my manager schedule view model, this, right, that's where it's setting it. On parameter set async is here. Let's just make sure that that's firing. Manager view parameter set async. Let's just make sure that that's firing before that blows up. Isley says, I'm using Visual Studio 2019. Find that your Razor files for Blazor don't get syntax highlighting. Super annoying. Are you using the latest version, the latest preview version, right? Make sure you're using the latest updates so that .razor file is being picked up. Okay, so I click Manager View. So, okay, parameter set async is being set. Svava keeps waiting for the keyboard strokes to enact the Konami code. Like that? You're welcome. Okay. So this is setting those properly. Okay. So something isn't available when it references over here. Okay, so let me close some of these other ones just so I don't confuse myself with some of these other things that are out here on the page. Okay. So that happens, which means DayView has got to be what fires next. Okay, so DayView is the one of the pages we've been working on. Oh. DayView doesn't... It needs to be injected... Well, referenced here, it should be injected with that model. And it says if model.dayDisplay... Well, that's a parameter that's being passed in and set on the model. Okay. So it should be in this area. Okay. Yeah. We're... I'm going to need to spend some more time going through this, but I am out of time here today, friends. I am up against... but there is... I have a feeling that we're at a point that this is running into an issue because there's nothing else that it's referencing inside this model, inside this class. The only place where we could be referencing while it's rendering now is down inside of DayView, right? In fact... Just to kind of confirm it, I'm going to comment out DayView just for a second, run this, and I should get it to pop up the schedule view without any days listed here, and with our objects up top here. So we can take a look. Here we go. Right, so that's loaded up. Here's my page. There's all my login stuff. If I click Manager Report, yeah. It's the so that confirms, right? By process of elimination, we've clipped out. Oh, you did not, Svava. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Boom goes the dynamite.
And it's now on the Discord. So this confirms, because we eliminated, right? We're trying to figure out where's the bug. By eliminating DayView here, in the manager view, we've now been able to show we don't get the error when that's not in place. So we know the issue is in the DayView and how it's being consumed on the manager report. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up for right now. We know where it is. I'm going to open a bug so that we can track that for next time. Or if I've got some time in between here. DayView on manager report crashes, right? That's pretty self-explanatory what it is. I'm going to mark this as a bug and help wanted if someone wants to take a look at it. I'm going to submit this issue, and I should put this on. I need this done on schedule availability project. We need this one addressed. All right, let's clean things up here. Let's get all of our code checked in and shared so that folks can take a look at it if you want to get involved with the project. So I'm going to run a git status here real quick. Let's remove that output CSS folder, right? That's a remove item. Is it -R? I don't know. Output CSS. Yes, get rid of all that stuff. All right. So git status. These are the files that are modified that I want to commit to source control. So I will commit them. Fixed data acquisition. Thank you so much, MStewGT, for the sub. Bringing your Twitch Prime here. I really appreciate that. And we'll make a donation to Coder Dojo. Thank you very, very much for that. This is going to address issue number 55, what I'm checking in here. So I will... Oh, I mistyped that. I've got a long, complex, goofy password there. I've got to make sure I get updated properly. I will push those changes from my workstation to my private GitHub repository. And now I can create a pull request. There it is, right there. This is a plugin that I have inside of Chrome to allow me to do things like that pretty quickly. So I'm going to label this. I'm worried about all that. Fixed data acquisition. And that was 55. Yep. Create that pull request, and I will merge it right away so that folks can get to these changes on the dev branch. Squash and merge. Yes. That, I'm not happy about all that. I'm going to need to rebase my local copy of the dev branch. That is ugly. Ugh. All right, friends, that's now available for you. Wasn't that into master? No! Crap. You're right. Revert. Revert. I gotta create it and... Ugh. Darn it. Oh, no, I broke it. Yes. Yes. Revert that. Yuck. Yep, delete that branch. Not good, not good. Oh, I made a... All right, so here we are back on fixed data acquisition. Right? I want to... Yes. Oh, my gosh. You fool! And I deleted the branch over on the other side. No! I can't believe it. Oh, my gosh. Try this again. One more time. All right. I should have the thing pop up here that says that I've got a new thing to merge. I should be able to restore the deleted branch. Now I'm going to just push it again. This happens without coffee? No, this happens with G Fuel. Show me the pull request that I can create here. Really? Really? You're not going to do this for me. I created a dev branch. Where is it? Where is it? New pull request. Ugh. And I want to work on dev. Yeah, I hate this interface. Can I tell you? It tries to evaluate things before I'm done setting everything up. There we go. Now I'm going into dev. Create that pull request. Right? And this is fixed data acquisition 55. Create that. There we go. Now I'm going into dev. That's way too much stuff there. Squash and merge. Confirm. There we go. I'm going to delete my version of the dev branch. It's already deleted. I'm going to get a fresh copy from the upstream. So I'm going to check out master here. delete my dev branch and create a new one. Git checkout -b dev git pull upstream dev, so I get the appropriate dev branch from over there. How do I have a conflict? How do I have a conflict?
Oh my.
I know. I just deleted the branch. Do it again. Yeah. Git branch -d. What? It's... Checkout. Pull upstream. No. Right? I'm trying to remove my local fork. Rebase master before doing this? Maybe. Right. Oh, it won't let me get out of... reset that. Now get rid of it. Right? Get rid of my local copy. I want to get a clean, empty branch. Right? And I want to pull in the upstream. So I've got the exact same thing that's upstream. Right? Orphan. There you go. Creates a new orphan branch. The first commit made will have no parents and will be the root of a new history totally disconnected from others. Yes. What? You make me sad. Okay. So I'm going to push those changes. So I have the exact same thing in my master that's in the other master. Now if I do git checkout -b dev git pull upstream dev. How do I have conflicts in something that doesn't exist yet? How do I... You're kidding. Right? This... What? What? Oh my gosh. How am I going to clean this up? Let's take a look at those 3 files. Yeah, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Go completely nuclear. I'm going to lose my database then. Not terrible. I'm going to go nuclear. Remove item resource management. Oh, it's because it's open. It's because it's open. Nope. Permission denied. No. That's open. Nope. Nope. That did it. So now I'm going to go back over here to my private version of this. I lost the little clone thing here that says, Oh, we're batting 1,000 here, friends. Let me get a copy of this locally again. And now if I check out dev, it doesn't know what upstream is. Oh, that's right. Come here, you. This is here. Git remote add upstream. Right, so that's the shared project, so that I can pull the upstream version of dev in here. Yeah. All right, I'm going to fix this on my own offline here. It's all the root beer's fault. Thanks, Drawn to Code. Hey, Kasukin, I'm trying to wrap up here. I am so over time, it's not even funny. I actually have a plane to catch. Here's what we're going to do. I think I just saw somebody come online here that I want to make sure we raid. So, friends, copy out the first line of that if you are a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, that's okay. Grab the second line of that raid call. We're going to announce our presence. We're going to be loud. We're going to be bold. When we go and join our friend on the Live Coders team, there she is. She's about to get started. We're going to raid Carrie Payette. You know Carrie. She was just here. She was cheering with us. She typically works on IoT devices and software. Let's go give her a big welcome. She's another member of the Live Coders team, writing code, building hardware here live on Twitch, and we want to support her. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining me. I'll have an announcement in Discord and on Twitter. You'll also see an update here about the exact timing of our Tuesday stream. My guest on Tuesday will be Phil Hack, and we're going to get started with Git and maybe fix some of these funny issues I'm having here. Take care.